really interesting bit of conversation to have. Google does not have an E.A.T score. No, there's no BERT score. There's obviously not a BERT score. Whoever came up with that's okay. I'm not bashing any. Really nice, Mike. No, but that's okay. The thing is, there's a lot of misunderstanding. It's a big industry, right?
Yeah. No.
So the BERT score thing, that's silly. BERT is, we talked about BERT last episode. I don't want to make this a big BERT thing. So the thing is, people were saying, what's up with the E.A.T score?
Mm-hmm.
What's the E.A.T score? And the response was interesting because there's no such thing as. I don't like how some of it was worded by Gary from Google, where he's like, "There's no such thing as E." And then he went on to say it's made up of a bunch of micro algorithms.
There's no internal number.
There's no score, which I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when we talk about E, it's from the Page Quality Rater Guidelines doc, and that a lot of people first off misrepresent what that document's about. They think it's a tool used to like penalize sites or something, and some of the components might be used for that, like in the manual process. But at the end of the day, that's what they give that to third-party subcontractors, and they feed data back into their machine, their AI. Mm-hmm. Because essentially they want to programmatically and through artificial intelligence determine if someone on a site is an expert or how much authority they really have, right? And we talked a little bit about that the other week in terms of like entity recognition and assigning it values. And I think it was silly. Some people think that they can't do that. It's like, no, it's the arguments if they're using it in their ranking algorithm or not. But you guys have to make sure you guys are catching replays, even if it's background out, because a lot of this stuff kind of ties together week over week. But I think it's interesting. I think it's another thing where things get misconstrued a bit, or people have sound bites that they catch and they kind of misunderstand the big picture. There might not be an E.A.T score, but they're definitely algorithmically trying to determine the makeup of an entity or a site based on these factors. So, there might not be a score, but that doesn't make it any less important, in my opinion. And it seemed like theirs as well, where it was like, it doesn't exist, but it does exist, and it's a bunch of algorithms, and it was an interesting way of putting it.
It's not like PR, though, I think is what they're trying to say. Like, they don't have a number represented in their algorithm to determine.
Yeah, true.
And if they did, and they really could understand that, they wouldn't need the quality guidelines, because their machine learning would be able to identify that with a mathematical equation. So,
right.
But I laughed about the BERT score specifically, because first of all, it just sounds kind of funny, but secondly, BERT score.
You're a riot.
I know, I'm hilarious. That's why I became an SEO instead of a comedian. Well, everyone always focuses on like quality score, right?
Sure.
Like, and it's almost like a lot of people in the industry get this idea that when there's a Google update, it always correlates to quality score, or like pushing good sites up or pushing bad sites down. When in reality, a lot of what Google does as far as updates are mostly trying to understand the internet or advance the algorithm, not by just like penalizing sites that are doing things wrong, or like there's a lot of sites out there that legitimately just have content that are used by a lot of people, and Google wants to make sure it can properly display them where it needs to, not even considering, people are building backlinks and doing SEO and we have to combat that with like a quality score or something. So that's where BERT really is a lot different than a lot of like the old Penguin and Panda and other updates, where it's really just Google understanding things, which, like you said, we don't need to get into that again, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I like how they said it was a bunch of micro algorithms, though. I mean, there's definitely factors there that they look at, or that they're starting to look at, or at least they're considering a little bit. Just doesn't seem like it's a refined, metric per se. It's just a bunch of things that all put together. And if you even look with it, and I mean, I'm in the Quality Raters Guide all the time. I really am.
That was a flex and a half.
And when you
Let
read
me show
it,
you my quality guide.
there isn't just one thing about expertise or trustworthiness. They literally list out a whole list of stuff that they're looking at on page, off site. They're looking at all types of stuff. So just think that they'd compile that into one little thing. Yeah, I can see where there would be no EAT score, but I do see that they're looking at a ton of different things, and some of those probably are things that we would want to use to our advantage if we're trying to rank, because we believe they're best practices. Like follow that; it's your best practices. But there's some things in there that can definitely help you, I believe, in my opinion.
No, I agree.
I think everyone should read the quality guidelines, though. I'm in no way a support of don't pay attention to them because Google doesn't have a score. If you haven't read that 166 page or whatever,
It's a good read.
it is, yeah. And if you're going to do SEO, you probably should read that. I would support that.
Along with Chaz, I'm also in there a lot. That was like a hell of an SEO flag. Surprised you didn't kick the camera over, throw a chair. No, seriously, I think the biggest thing is like a lot of people that do SEO, we talk about quality score, web score, we talk about PR, right? Mm-hmm. And even PR, once upon a time, was a public displayed metric, and then there's all the third-party metrics, and I think people are so used to metrics and those scores and numbers that they kind of superimpose their idea of how things should be represented and like quantified and measured and shit onto
everything has a score.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everything has a little measurement of its own.
And we're kind of indoctrinated with that. We get scores in school. We get,
Well, if you know anything about coding too, it's all numbers and equations.
It's very binary.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So I get it.
Yeah.
Common misconception, but I hope people don't take. The only thing that frustrates me with Google sometimes is like when their guides give answers, it's like I hope people don't take the extreme. And now they're like, oh, EAT, what a joke. It's like, no, it's not a joke. They're just, it doesn't, we don't have a quantifiable way of tracking if your EAT's good or your EAT's not good.
It's literally a bunch of best practices and maybe a bunch of little algorithms that look at different parts of that somehow, but not combined into a nicely refined
score.
metric.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you guys.